Savannah Secrets, a Forbidden Friendship. The sun rose slowly over the endless Kenyan savannah, its golden light spilling across the rolling hills and acacia trees. The air was crisp with morning dew, and the distant lowing of cattle mingled with the rhythmic clicks of Maasai warriors' sandals on the dusty earth. In this land of vast horizons and ancient traditions, two lives were about to cross in a way that would challenge everything they knew. Lukas stood at the edge of the Maasai village, his pale skin almost glowing in the early light. His red hair was tousled by the gentle breeze, and his green eyes scanned the vibrant scene before him with a mixture of awe and uncertainty. Unlike the orderly streets and brick houses of his colonial settlement, here was a world alive with color and sound. Women in bright red shukas carrying water, children darting between huts, elders seated beneath the shade of an acacia tree, their faces etched with wisdom and stories. He took a deep breath. "This is where I have to start," he whispered to himself. As he stepped closer, a figure caught his eye, a young Maasai girl watching him from behind a wooden fence. Her skin was a deep, rich mahogany, smooth and glowing in the morning sun. Her dark eyes, sharp and curious, met his with a mixture of caution and intrigue. She wore a bright red shuka wrapped tightly around her slender frame, and her neck was adorned with intricate beadwork, blue, white, and red strands woven carefully into patterns that told stories of her people. "Who is that boy?" she asked softly to a friend nearby. Naserian was her name, a girl of 14 summers, born into a proud lineage of warriors and herders. She had grown up hearing stories of outsiders, settlers who brought change, conflict, and sometimes cruelty. Yet something about this boy was different. There was no arrogance in his gaze, only a quiet longing. Lukas approached slowly, hands raised in peace. "Hello," he said, his voice gentle. "My name is Lukas. I don't mean to intrude." Naserian stepped forward, her eyes narrowing slightly. "You should not be here alone," she replied, her voice steady but wary. "I want to learn about your people," Lukas said earnestly. "Maybe we can be friends." She hesitated, glancing back at the village behind her. "Maybe," she said finally, "but our worlds are very different." And so began a friendship that would defy the boundaries of culture and history. Over the coming days, Lukas and Naserian met in secret beneath the shade of the great acacia tree. They shared stories, his of distant lands and expectations, his of cattle herding and the sacred rights of her people. Lukas spoke of his father's strict rules and the weight of colonial expectations, while Naserian revealed the pride and pain woven into Maasai traditions. One afternoon, as the sun dipped low, Lukas confessed, "I don't want to be the man my father expects. I want to find my own path." Naserian looked at him thoughtfully. "Our traditions are strong. They bind us, but they also give us strength. Sometimes the hardest part is knowing which chain to break." Their conversations were filled with laughter, debate, and moments of shared silence, each learning from the other, bridging a gap that many said could never be crossed. But peace was fragile in a land shadowed by tension. One night, a fire erupted near the village, a barn ablaze, flames licking the sky, threatening to consume the hard-earned stability of the community. The villagers rushed to fight the fire, their voices rising in alarm and anger. This was no accident. Chief Ole Kito bellowed, his voice echoing over the crackling flames. "Someone wants to divide us." Lukas and Naserian exchanged grim looks. "We have to find out who did this," Lukas said. "If we don't, nothing will change." Naserian nodded. "Then we must work together." Their quest to uncover the truth would take them through dangerous paths, confronting prejudice, betrayal, and the ghosts of history. But it would also reveal the power of friendship and the possibility of unity. The days that followed Lukas's first meeting with Naserian were filled with cautious curiosity. Each morning, as the sun spilled its golden light over the savannah, Lukas found himself drawn back to the Maasai village. He was a stranger in a world that seemed both ancient and alive, where every bead, every dance, every whispered prayer carried meaning. Naserian, meanwhile, was torn between the pride she felt for her people and the intrigue stirred by this boy who dared to cross invisible boundaries. She was a daughter of the Maasai, raised amid rituals that shaped her very soul. One afternoon, as they sat beneath the sprawling branches of an acacia tree, Naserian began to explain the significance of the red shuka she wore. The cloth was more than fabric. It was a symbol of strength and courage, worn by warriors who protected their tribe from danger. The bright red color was said to scare away lions and evil spirits alike. "My father will be a warrior soon," she said, her voice steady but filled with youthful pride. "He trains every day, learning to hunt and protect. One day, I will marry a warrior who can jump higher than any other." Lukas listened intently, fascinated by the depth of tradition. "What does it mean to be a warrior?" he asked. "To be a warrior is to be brave, to protect your people, and to follow the code of our ancestors," Naserian replied. "There are ceremonies, circumcision, initiation, that mark the passage from boy to man. It is not easy." Lukas nodded, understanding more than he expected. "Back home, my father expects me to follow his footsteps, to take over the family farm. But sometimes I wonder if I'm meant for something else." Their conversation was interrupted by the distant sound of singing and rhythmic clapping. Curious, they rose and walked toward the village center, where a group of young warriors performed the traditional adumu, or jumping dance. The men, dressed in red shukas and adorned with beaded necklaces and bracelets, leapt high into the air, competing to impress the women watching with bright eyes and soft smiles. The pounding of feet and the chorus of voices filled the air, a celebration of strength, youth, and life itself. Naserian's eyes sparkled as she watched. "This is how we honor the coming of age," she explained. "The highest jumper wins respect and the chance to choose a bride." Lukas felt a stirring in his chest, a mixture of admiration and longing. In that moment, the distance between their worlds seemed to shrink, bridged by the universal language of hope and courage. But the fragile peace was not to last. One evening, as the village settled into the quiet hum of night, a sudden blaze erupted near the cattle barn. Flames roared skyward, casting flickering shadows on the maniatas, circular huts made of mud, sticks, and grass, their entrances facing east to greet the rising sun. The villagers rushed to douse the fire, their voices sharp with fear and anger. Chief Ole Kito, a tall, imposing man with deep lines carved by years of leadership, stood amid the chaos. His red shuka was singed at the edges, but his voice was strong. "This is no accident," he declared. "Someone seeks to divide us. We must find the truth." Lukas and Naserian exchanged a determined glance. "We can't let fear tear us apart," Naserian said. "If we work together, maybe we can stop this." Lukas nodded. "Then let's find who did this. For your village, and for mine." Their alliance, born of curiosity and courage, would soon be tested by forces both seen and unseen, prejudice, betrayal, and the weight of history. Lukas: "Naserian, do you think your people will ever accept me? A settler's son." Naserian: "It is not easy. Many see outsiders as threats, but you have shown respect. That counts." Lukas: "I want to help. I want to be part of something real, not just follow orders." Naserian: "Then you must prove it, not with words, but with actions." The fire had left a scar on the village's spirit. Though the flames were extinguished, suspicion and fear smoldered beneath the surface. Chief Ole Kito gathered the elders beneath the great acacia tree, their faces grave in the fading light. "This fire," the chief said, his voice steady but heavy, "was meant to divide us, to turn neighbor against neighbor. We must find who brought this darkness." Lukas stood among the crowd, feeling the weight of the moment. He glanced at Naserian, whose jaw was clenched with determination. The village was her home, her people's future, and now it was threatened. "We cannot let fear win," Naserian said quietly to Lukas as they stepped aside. "If we do, the wounds will never heal." Lukas nodded. "Then we must act together." Their alliance was fragile, forged in the fires of mistrust and hope. To prove themselves, they needed to understand the village's ways, its rhythms, and its secrets. Days later, Lukas accompanied Naserian to the Manita, the circular Maasai homestead made of mud, sticks, and grass. The Manita's open entrance faced east, welcoming the sunrise, a symbol of new beginnings. Inside, the air smelled of smoke, cowhide, and earth. Women prepared meals of ugali and yamakoma, the scent of grilled meat mingling with the sharp tang of fermented milk, mursik. Children played nearby, their laughter a fragile thread of normalcy. Naserian's mother greeted Lukas with a cautious smile. "You come often," she said in Ma, her voice warm but guarded. Lukas bowed respectfully. I want to understand your people, your ways." Her eyes softened. "Then you must learn to listen, not just hear." That evening, as the village settled, the elders performed a traditional ceremony to invoke Enkai, the benevolent deity of rain and fertility. The air filled with vocal harmonies, a chorus led by the Olaranyani, the song leader, whose voice wove stories of ancestors and blessings. Naserian explained softly, "Our music has no instruments, only voices and the rhythm of our hearts. It connects us to Enkai and to each other." Lukas felt the power of the moment, the unity of a people bound by faith and tradition. But beneath the surface, tension simmered. Some villagers whispered that the fire was the work of outsiders. Others blamed internal rivals. Fear bred suspicion, and suspicion threatened to unravel the fragile peace. One night, Lukas and Naserian met secretly by the river. The moon cast silver light on the water, and the air was thick with anticipation. "We need to find who started the fire," Lukas said, "but we must be careful. Accusations could tear this village apart." Naserian nodded. "There are those who do not want us to unite. We must watch our steps." Their conversation was interrupted by rustling in the bushes. Two figures emerged, Jabari, Naserian's older brother, and a friend. Jabari's face was stone, his eyes sharp. "What are you two doing here?" Jabari demanded. "We're trying to protect the village." Naserian replied firmly, "We need to find the truth." Jabari's gaze softened slightly. "Be careful. Not everyone shares your hope." The days that followed were a delicate dance of trust and discovery. Lukas learned to track footprints and read signs in the dust, skills Naserian taught him with patience. They uncovered clues hinting at a deeper conspiracy, someone within the settlement who sought to exploit division for personal gain. Their investigation led them to Mr. Bauer, Lukas's father, whose rigid views and fear of change blinded him to the possibility of unity. "You don't understand," Mr. Bauer said harshly one evening. "The settlers and the Maasai have different destinies. Mixing them is dangerous." Lukas stood tall. "Maybe it's time to write a new destiny." As the truth emerged, so did the risks. Threats were whispered in the dark, and alliances tested. But through it all, Lukas and Naserian's friendship grew, rooted in respect, courage, and a shared vision for a future where their worlds could coexist. "Lukas, I used to think my father was right, that our world should stay apart." Naserian, "And now?" Lukas, "Now I know that friendship is the strongest bridge. If we build it, others may follow." Naserian, "Then let's build it one step at a time." If you watched this far, subscribe now to experience the wonder of words, the richness of culture, and the timeless lessons that connect us all. Comment your expectations, opinion, or interests. Join the Pablo family and help keep these stories alive, one tale at a time. Now let's continue. The fire that had threatened the village was more than a mere accident. It was a spark that ignited old fears and new tensions. The Maasai elders, led by Chief Ole Kito, convened beneath the sprawling acacia tree, their faces etched with worry and resolve. The fire had not only consumed the barn, but also threatened to consume the fragile trust between the Maasai and the settlers. Lukas stood among the crowd, feeling the weight of his father's expectations pressing down on him, yet buoyed by the hope kindled in his friendship with Naserian. The village was her home, her people's future, and now it was under threat. Chief Ole Kito's voice rang out, steady and commanding. "This fire was meant to divide us, to turn neighbor against neighbor. We must find who brought this darkness upon us." Naserian's eyes met Lukas's, fierce and determined. "We cannot let fear tear us apart. If we do, the wounds will never heal." Lukas nodded. "Then we must act. Together." Their alliance was fragile but born of courage and hope. To prove themselves, Lukas needed to understand the Maasai way of life deeply, their customs, beliefs, and the rhythms that bound the community. One morning, Naserian led Lukas to the Manyata, the traditional Maasai homestead. The circular huts, built from mud, sticks, and grass, with entrances facing east to greet the rising sun, symbolized new beginnings. Inside, the air was thick with the aroma of cooking fires and the sound of women preparing meals, ugali, nyamakoma, and the tangy mursik, fermented milk that was a staple of their diet. Naserian's mother greeted Lukas with a cautious but warm smile. "You come often," she said softly in Ma, her voice carrying the weight of tradition. Lukas bowed respectfully. I want to understand your people, your ways. Her eyes softened. Then you must learn to listen, not just hear. That evening, the village gathered for ceremony to honor Enkai, the monotheistic deity of the Maasai, who was both benevolent and vengeful, embodying the duality of life and nature. The elders, led by the Libon, the spiritual leader and healer, sang harmonies without instruments, their voices weaving a tapestry of prayer and praise. The Olaranyani, the song leader, sang the melody, and the chorus responded in unison, their voices rising like the wind over the plains. Naserian whispered to Lukas, "Our music connects us in kind to each other. It is the heartbeat of our people." Lukas felt the power of the moment, the unity and resilience of a community bound by faith and tradition. Yet beneath the surface, suspicion simmered. Some villagers whispered that outsiders were responsible for the fire. Others suspected internal rivals. Fear bred mistrust, threatening to unravel the fragile peace. One moonlit night, Lukas and Naserian met by the riverbank. The silver light danced on the water's surface, and the air was thick with anticipation. "We need to find who started the fire," Lukas said quietly, "but we must be careful. Accusation could destroy everything." Naserian nodded. "There are those who do not want us to unite. We must watch our steps." Suddenly, rustling in the bushes startled them. Jabari, Naserian's older brother, emerged, his face stern and guarded. "What are you two doing here?" Jabari demanded. "We're trying to protect the village." Naserian replied firmly. "We need to find the truth." Jabari's gaze softened just a little. "Be careful. Not everyone shares your hope." Over the next days, Lukas learned to track footprints and read signs in the dust, skills Naserian taught with patience and care. They uncovered clues pointing to a deeper conspiracy, someone within the settler community who sought to exploit divisions for personal gain. Their investigation brought Lukas face-to-face with his father, Mr. Bauer, a man whose rigid views and fear of change blinded him to the possibility of unity. "You don't understand," Mr. Bauer said harshly one evening. "The settlers and the Maasai have different destinies. Mixing them is dangerous." Lukas stood his ground. Maybe it's time to write a new destiny. As truth emerged, so did danger. Threats whispered in the dark, alliances tested, and the line between friend and foe blurred. But through it all, Lukas and Naserian's friendship grew, rooted in respect, courage, and a shared vision for a future where their worlds could coexist. "Lukas, I used to think my father was right, that our world should stay apart." Naserian, "And now?" Lukas, "Now I know friendship is the strongest bridge. If we build it, others may follow." Naserian, "Then let's build it, one step at a time." The night air was thick with anticipation as Lukas and Naserian prepared to take the next step in their quest for truth. The village, though outwardly calm, simmered with unspoken tensions. Whispers of suspicion and fear had spread like wildfire, threatening to fracture the fragile peace that had held the Maasai and settlers in uneasy balance. Under the silver glow of the moon, the two met quietly by the riverbank, where the water's gentle murmur seemed to offer momentary refuge from the turmoil. "We need to be careful," Naserian said, her eyes scanning the shadows. "If we accuse the wrong person, it could tear the village apart." Lukas nodded, his jaw set with determination. "But if we do nothing, the fire will burn deeper than the barn. It will consume everything." Their investigation had already uncovered troubling signs. Footprints near the barn that didn't match any known villagers, whispered rumors of a stranger seen lurking near the settlement, and subtle hints of discord within the settler community itself. Days later, Lukas confronted his father, Mr. Bauer, in the dim light of their home. The elder man's face was stone, his eyes hard. "You don't understand," Mr. Bauer said, his voice heavy with conviction. "The settlers and the Maasai have different destinies. Mixing them is dangerous. You're risking everything by befriending her." Lukas met his father's gaze steadily. "Maybe it's time to write a new destiny, one where we don't live in fear of each other." Mr. Bauer's expression flickered with doubt, but his pride held firm. Meanwhile, Naserian faced her own challenges. Her brother Jabari warned her of the risk she was taking, reminding her of the expectations placed upon her as a Maasai daughter. "You're walking a dangerous path," he cautioned. Not everyone wants peace. But Naserian's resolve was unshaken. If we don't try, nothing will change. As the days passed, Lukas and Naserian discovered that the fire was not the work of an outsider, but a calculated act by a small group within the settler community seeking to destabilize relations and seize more land. Armed with this knowledge, they brought their findings to Chief Ole Kito and the village elders. The revelation shocked many, but it also galvanized a community to stand united against those who sought to divide them. In a powerful gathering beneath the acacia tree, the Maasai and settlers came together, their voices raised in a shared prayer led by the village pastor. The hymn echoed across the savannah, a song of hope, forgiveness, and new beginnings. Lukas and Naserian stood side by side, their friendship a living testament to the possibility of unity. Chief Ole Kito, we have faced darkness, but together we have found the light. Let this be the beginning of a new chapter. Lukas, our futures are intertwined. We are stronger together. Naserian, and with faith, courage, and love, we will build a community where all belong. As Savannah's secrets, a forbidden friendship draws to a close, we witness how Lukas and Naserian's courageous bond transcended cultural divides, fear, and prejudice. Their journey, from tentative friendship to united community leaders, showcases the power of empathy, faith, and shared hope in healing old wounds and forging new paths. The village, once shadowed by suspicion and fire, now stands stronger through understanding and collaboration, embracing a future where tradition and change coexist. We'd love to hear your thoughts. What did you think about Lukas and Naserian's friendship and the challenges they faced? How did the shift from traditional beliefs to Christianity resonate with you? Were there moments or characters that surprised or inspired you? What are your expectations for stories that explore cultural intersections like this? Please share your opinions, reflections, or questions in the comments below. Your voice enriches the conversation and helps us create stories that truly connect across cultures. We're excited to read your takes. Thanks for watching Stories with Pablo. Please subscribe and leave us a like. It means a lot to us. You can also share this video with your friends and loved ones and turn on post notifications so you don't miss our future videos. Thank you for doing so.